Hey, welcome back, everybody. Um, so we're still working on our basic house plan, and I've actually got the stoops in. I've put in two of the doors. I made a block out of them, and I put in my window um, symbols, but I haven't done really anything else. And we're just gonna stop for here for a minute because honestly, it's at this point once you've got the doors on the outside of the house and the window placements put in, all you really need is to know the shape of the roof and you can start your elevations. So we're going to have a quick run through on this for just a minute. Now, I have actually blocked in my porch because I want a porch on this house. You don't have to have one. If you want to just put in a literal landing right here in front of the door and then have a couple of steps down, that's fine. Like if I was going to do it on this side of the house, which in this case it shows up as the east side based on my navigation bar over there, I'd go in here and I'd just say, okay, I'm on one walls. Let's put in a polyline and go like this. I'm going to go, it's going to go out, say 3 feet, so 36 inches. It's going to be roughly, 48 inches or 4 feet across to come back down this way, 36 inches. So if I just wanted a landing that's set outside my door, I can do this and just move that to right there. And I'm just going to butt it into the house, which is 3 inches this way, and then butt it 3 inches that way. So there's the landing. If I want to do that on the front porch, that's fine. Now, if I want steps down because I'm going to have this raised out of the ground, I'll just draw in the steps. And in this case, my steps would be, um, honestly, I'd make them 12 inches by, say, 36 inches and by 12 inches. And then move that to center on here. So I'm going to move this way, say, I think it's 3 inches to get, no, 6 inches to get me center. I did the math wrong in my head because my brain's not working today. So, and then I can just copy this and say, how many steps do I need? Well, I need, let's see, one down, two down. We'll have 3 steps down to get to the bottom. There we go. I've got steps. I can do that on the front, but I put a porch out here because honestly, if I'm going to have this, I'm going to have a porch on my house. I like the look. It makes it more cottagey, gives it better curb appeal, makes it just better for me. So I've put a porch out here, and all it is, I use my concrete layer to draw. I just made a line that's 3 inches over from the edge here, and it wraps around the same width of the house, but plus 3 inches to get to here. So cake, and then I just put in a couple of posts on it. And all the post is, any dimensional lumber we cut, we draw it in as its right size, and then put an X through it to show that it was cut. In this case, these are 6x6 posts, so they're 5.5 by 5.5 with an X through it. So remember, all dimensional lumber is its raw dimension. Its nominal dimension is usually a ½ inch smaller in each dimension. So, but there we go. I've got that put in. Now, other things I did change. I did change out my window type here, and I did change my window symbol here. So this is a horizontal sliding window that is a center pane and the two sides slide. This is a window unit that is 5.0 by, I think it's 5.0, and it's got two 30-inch windows that are single doubles. They're double hung, so they slide vertically, and with a frame in the middle. Relatively straightforward there. But now I can just go in and say, okay, what's my roof want to look like? Well, I got options here. Now, normally, let's talk about roofs. I like gable roofs over doors. A couple of reasons. In the winter around here, and I've seen it, and I have a cousin that has a beautiful story about it, that when one day they were having a rather lovely discussion, and she slammed the door, and they live in the upper end of Idaho, and as all the snow slid off the roof and buried her poor husband up to his neck. I mean, it came out funny, but um, she opened the door, looked out, and just started laughing. But that's because from a door being shut forcibly. Okay, I've seen those kind of things around here. We have a couple of ski resorts in the area, and I've seen snow come off of roofs and fold cars in half. There's one up the mountain from where I'm at, and it is a 3-story condo complex, and the snow built up one year and kind of was trying to ice dam, but when it broke loose and came off, it dropped 3 stories into the middle of a hatchback, and that hatchback was basically cut in half, folded up. So I like to put gables over doors because I don't want that coming down on my head. I don't want it. I put it over garage doors, etc. So I'm just going to put out a roof shape on this that is a simple gable roof, and then we're going to show you how to do a hip roof, but we'll leave the porch for a separate piece. So let's start with this. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here. I'm going to find my roof outline, And the easiest way to do this, in all honesty, is to draw a polyline that goes around the house's perimeter, like literally right around the perimeter, and that actually lines up right where it's supposed to, like so. And I'm just going to go CL for close. And then all I do is I offset right about 12 inches out. So right now I'm going to 12 inches from there out this way. Now, that's not enough on my eaves in my brain, so I'll actually take these and move them in just a minute. But this inner line right here that I made that with, I can now erase. It was just there for construction. To put the gable on, I go from midpoint here to midpoint there. There. That's a gable roof in its simplest form. Okay. If I want a bigger eave on the end or barge rafter on this end, I can adjust those by just moving the lines. But that's a gable roof. That's as hard as it's got to be. Okay, hip roof. Let's do one. I'll just draw it over here to the side after I make the shape. So I'm going to go polyline again. But this time I'm going to wrap around the actual shape of the building itself, not the porch. So I'm going to do this so it's actually more of a complex hip. And we'll move this, and we'll just move it over here somewhere. Okay, easiest way to do a roof is this. I'm going to offset, and I'm going to figure out what my overhang is. Well, for a lot of hips around here, we use a 30-inch overhang. Now, to be simple, I can now just come in from the corners like so and connect going inward from the corners as if I'm trying to bevel all those. That's the easiest way to do this. Now, if that doesn't work for you, I have had people do this so they can see it, what it's really going to look like. They'll use the offset command. I'm just going to offset now at 12 inches, and they'll just keep coming in. And it will automatically generate kind of a look of what the roof is going to do. Okay. And most of our students get this and they say, oh, I see it now. They can see what the roof's going to do. It works. Okay. For me, honestly, I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay. But that's one of the easiest ways to do it. Now, if you ever do this, here's how this works. The geometry is the same. The triangular planes, the corners, are 2 points of the plane. Where they intersect is the third corner of the plane. Because remember, this is all based on triangles. So I'm going to go and just simply, I'm going to use my fillet command with a 0 radius to bring this line and this line up until they meet. Okay. At that point, where they meet, this is going to point where the ridge is going to be. At that point, I'm going to fillet this line into that line because that is going to run into the ridge. Where those two meet, I'm going to mirror this line right around 90 degrees to that line side. That's where that's going to slope up, and it's going to incline until it runs into that one. At that point, they're pointing where they're going again. Now, I can do the same thing on the back side of this building from here to here, and see that actually meets. I just need to trim off this chunk right there. There's my hip roof. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. Okay, don't overthink it. And when we get to elevations a little bit, it'll make sense to you. Now that's just laying out the outline of it. Honestly, if I'm doing it for this, I'm going to just do a simple gable. Okay, now one more before we go. I'm actually going to delete this stuff back out of this, and I'm going to make this into a gable roof. Now, I offset that out 30 inches, okay? So I'm going to offset that back in, that 30 inches, so it lines up right with where my building would be. Now, here's the trick. If I want this to be an actual gable roof, I'm going to have to explode this first off. Okay, I know that the gable is going to come from the midpoint here forward. Well, it's going to hit this line right here. So I'm going to extend this until it reaches that. Now, I know will have a gable over this window bay area. In other words, this area right here, you can see under my cursor. And it's going to go straight back like so. Well, here's the deal. In the front of this house, there's going to be a slope that comes down and then joins this slope. That's this surface right here. That's why I had to extend this line out to this line. So what happens is I've created a single slope up from what is the west side and two slopes up coming from the east side. Okay. Now in both of these cases, there isn't enough overhang here. Okay. That's literally right at the edge of the house. That's not going to work. So if I want to, I can now go in like this because I've exploded this offset, and I'm going to go say 2 feet on my eave sides of my home here and actually right here. That means these lines that I offset those from, okay, I can now erase. I'm also going to offset 1 foot over my cable ends where my bar drafter will be. And that means I will now get rid of these inner lines there. At this point, I can just simply go with the fillet command of this to there and this to here. Oops, gotta click them, Benson. Okay. And that still maintains the look. Now, here's one thing that is just a little odd. I'm going to extend. Okay, it's just EX, enter, and then enter to make anything that wants to extend, extend. These two lines, this one right here, lined up with that one right there exactly. In fact, there is no difference in those endpoints, okay? So I'm going to trim at this line, this, and then extend that down. So when I get down here, I make sure it's lined up, but see, there is literally no difference. It doesn't matter how far in I zoom. There is no difference in those two endpoints, okay? So we'll zoom way the heck back out, and we'll go trim for that guy, and we'll go extend, enter, enter, to EX, enter, enter. There we go. So that's got me where I want to be with that. So there's my different roof layouts in here, okay? It's not meant to be difficult, but it does have to happen before we can do elevations. So for beginners, I would suggest we just do a simple hip and move on, okay? So thanks for your time, and we'll start elevations next. Bye.